Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Hello Day with Down with Astronomy. It's Monday, so let's take a look at what's been going on in Elite and in Star Citizen in the last week and what's going to happen in the week to come. We're going to start over in Elite where we got the Dev Update 3, which gave us a lot of information about some of the changes that's going to come in the upcoming Update 7 that we're going to see somewhere towards the middle of September. So not too far away, should only be a couple of weeks now. One of the major things is a rebalance on the on-foot conflict zones. Right now, they are a little unbalanced in terms of ships with dumbfire missiles. Can you sit there, shoot people, basically nuke them from orbit almost, with very little opportunity for people on ground to fight back. SRVs also seems to be a little bit on the overpowered side. So one of the main things, of course, they're doing is they're adding dogfights above the conflict zones, both to encourage people to move around in their ships, that they're not just sitting still because they will be shot at, but also to kind of add a little bit of extra atmosphere, I guess. Not atmosphere in terms of air, but, immersion atmosphere. This is a good move, and I hope that the ship side of the combat is going to count towards the progression of the on-foot conflict zone and not just be a deterrent to prevent people from moving, but that is actually going to be an active part of that ongoing conflict. Another thing they're adding is ground-to-air turrets that's going to be defending the base against incoming ships. These, of course, you can, as an on-foot player, go over and disable. At least that's the way they proposed it right now. What I actually think would work even better, I think it's a good idea to put these turrets in as extra objectives, but I think it would be better if they could be capture points. So if you capture them for your team, then that turret will now be controlled by your team and it will then only fire on the enemy ships. If you disable them, you don't do anything active to further your progression of the team, because then you are also preventing them from shooting at the enemy team, unless the turrets are already owned. So there will be turrets that are owned by Team A and a turret that will be owned by Team B. I don't know if that's how it's going to work, but at least I would hope that in order for people on foot to have a reason to go and disable these, have to be actually given them a benefit to do so. And therefore I think actually having them as a thing you take over rather than just outright disable and sabotage, I think that is a better solution, simply because it gives people a reason to go there. I would love to see a lot more objectives that you can go for. Maybe you could have SRV respawn points, where you could have NPC SRVs come in. So if you manage to go and capture an SRV spawn point, then you would have an NPC spawn in driving an SRV for your team, and you would have that as a benefit. One of the other things they're doing to kind of counteract the SRVs is they're going to add rocket troops. So they're going to be people with rocket launchers now. I hope they're not going to be too overpowered for just, shooting people with rockets. There's going to be some balancing going on there, because I can see an NPC just suddenly shoots a rocket at you and then you're dead. This is a very, very finicky thing to balance these kind of conflict zones to make it just right. So I'm not expecting Frontier to get this spot on here in the first go. I'm expecting that we're going to see smaller iterative changes to conflict zones over the coming updates, and hopefully they're slowly, step by step, getting it closer and closer to a really good state. And I think what they're doing here is absolutely a step in the right direction. Now, up in space, there's also some interesting things happening, because megaships is going to be having social spaces adding to them. That means we're going to get a concourse on megaships. Now, this might seem like a smaller thing, and the reason the reason they say they do it is because they want to be able to use megaships for deep space events, and they need to be able to temporarily spawn some point in space where you can go and sell genomics data. So if they want to do an event around scanning plant life in a specific region, I could see an event that would, community goals and like that would revolve around that. I think why most people are excited about this is because this could very well be a precursor to social spaces on fleet carriers, which is something I think a lot of people have been asking for, especially people who use their fleet carriers for exploration, because currently they do not have anywhere to go and sell their genomics data that they collect, because they can't sell their own fleet carrier, so they have to go to a station somewhere. And the whole point of exploring with a fleet carrier, to carry that big heavy things around and spend all that tritium, is that you have that luxury of being able to sell your cartograph data. So personally, I think Frontier is using the megaships as a controlled environment they can test probably maybe a different layout, but test how this is going to work on mega ships. Hopefully we're going to see these things added to fleet carriers as well. I think that would be absolutely awesome. I hope that they're also going to allow us to make them customizable. They've been doing a lot of work also coming actually in update 7, where they're going to basically allow the stations to have different station interiors, to have different paint jobs, the social spaces, depending on faction, alliance, or economy or whatever. I don't know which factors plays in, but they're going to be more unique, and I hope that some of that uniqueness, we're going to be able to carry that over to our fleet carrier, so we are able to customize it to our liking. Over in Star Citizen, there's currently 3 new ships in the pipeline that are in various stages of development. One of them that is the least far along the path is the Drake Vulture. This is going to be a salvage ship. As far as I can see right now, they're still in the gray box state of it. So they're still like modeling the ship, figuring out how that's going to work. And then, of course, they have to shader it. They have to, I would assume they maybe have done some of the gray box for the interiors, but it's still very early days for this ship. This is intended to be a salvage ship that will go out to wrecks in space and collect valuables that you can then take back to a station and sell for a profit. But obviously salvage mechanics is not even in the game yet, but this is supposed to be the ship that's going to come to support salvage gameplay when that is added to the game in 2022. Another ship they're working on is the Aegis Starfighter, which is supposed to be a heavy anti-capital ship fighter. So it's going to be a heavy fighter designed to go up against capital class ships. And the final ship that is the furthest along is the Redeemer. I'm actually not 100% sure what direction they're going with it. I think originally it was intended to be like a combo gunship, dropship. I kind of got the feeling of the idea that they're maybe leaning more towards the gunship role rather than the dropship role. But we'll see. It's pretty far along, and that should be coming in the not too distant future. Over on Crusader, more specifically at Orison, they're going to be adding some new areas. They're going to be expanding that landing zone. At least they're going to add a ship customization area, so to assume where you can add like paint jobs or buy paint jobs for your ships, those kind of things. One thing I think is going to be cool is going to be the Crusader showroom. And we already have a number of these showrooms. We have one on Area 18. We, of course, have one out on Microtech. But having one at Crusader just makes a lot of sense. Since Orison is going to be, is the main headquarters for Crusader Industries, it makes a ton of sense that they would have a showroom to show off their ships there. And I could definitely see this showroom also being used for future like ship events, like these big expos maybe. That could be fun. If nothing else, it gives people a good chance to go out and see a lot of the Crusader Industry ships. In a previous Hello Dave, I talked about how the medical gameplay is going to involve you being able to get trauma to different limbs. That could be just from something simple as maybe like a broken arm or something like that to more severe damage. And if you take multiple traumas in the same limb, you could eventually get to a point where you're going to be unable to use it, or maybe you will lose an arm, lose a leg, something like that. And to support that, they're going to be adding cybernetics into it. Currently, they are doing like test renders, concept arts for cybernetic arms and legs that you're going to be able to get. How they're going to function, if they're going to have extra functionality, if there's going to be if people are actively going to go out and search for these and actually purposely lose an arm to get a cybernetic arm or a cybernetic leg, if they give some kind of advantage over having normal legs, I don't know. But I think it's going to be interesting, and I'm looking forward to the Death of a Spaceman concept, where your character will eventually be able to die, but obviously it's not going to be you're going to lose all your stuff. They're going to have a next of kin kind of thing. So your roleplay wise, your character will die, but your money and your ship and all your assets will be carried over to your next of kin, who will then take care of and continue to basically play from where you are. But it kind of roleplay wise, it's going to be that your character dies and you're going to be basically making a new one. I think you may lose some reputation with factions or something like that. Again, not 100% sure. We'll see when that gets added into the game. And finally, I just want to talk about the live stream tomorrow. I didn't manage to get a live stream out this weekend, so it's been a while since there's been a Star Citizen live stream, but I still want to do an Elite stream tomorrow, because with the upcoming changes to conflict zones, I think it could be fun to begin to take the initial steps towards making a planet-side dogfighting build. Because I think taking big heavy corvettes or anacondas down planet-side It's going to be a little hazardous. They are heavy. They turn slow. Power to rate ratio is not amazing. I mean, just look at the cutter, how much that drifts. Flying that around a planetside could be detrimental if you end up crashing into the ground. So I could see that for those kind of conflict zones, that smaller, more nimble ships may be a better choice. There's probably some medium ships somewhere in the middle that's going to be a good balance. But it could be interesting to go and begin to theory craft. I don't even know, like normally when I do build streams, I have an idea about what type of ship I want to build on. But this is completely uncharted territory for me. So I'm really going to need your guys' input for this. And that's why I want to do it during the live stream. So we're going to be sitting down, we're going to be theory crafting, what kind of modules would you need, what do you like, all that stuff I think could be fun. We're going to be carrying SRV so we can, in case we are like getting shot up by too many people on the ground, we can take that down and do a quick sweep with SRV to go back up. Is it going to be multi-rolled like that? Or are we going to try to do something that focuses purely on the dogfighting side? I don't know. And I would really like your guys' input. So we're going to be looking at that on the live stream tomorrow. We're going to be theory crafting. I'm not expecting us to have a finished build, but I'm expecting that we're going to have some good ideas and something we can begin to test and work towards in-game. And when the change comes, we can kind of see how it works and if it works at all. That's all going to happen tomorrow, and it will be live streamed on YouTube and on Twitch, and it will be at 7 o'clock in-game time. I hope we'll see a lot of you guys there. Thanks a lot for watching, and until next time, I will see you guys in space.